So in my last video, I talked about whether LegalShield is still worth it in 2026. And if you haven't seen that yet, I'd recommend going back and watching that one first. But if you haven't, that's great because this builds right on top of it. Now, in this video, I want to talk about something that I think is actually maybe even more important than pricing. Why most people don't use LegalShield. That's kind of the topic here. And more importantly, why that matters. Because even people with it, the reality is LegalShield is one of those services where if you use it, it can be extremely valuable. But if you don't use it, it can feel like something you're just paying for every month and month and month without really getting anything out of it. And I get that. I've seen both sides of that. Trust me, okay? If you're new here, my name is Dan, and on this channel, I just like to talk about real experiences, real lessons, things that I've used, things I've learned, and even some things I've regretted along the way. So, just to be transparent, I am a LegalShield associate, have been for 30 years, so I do this from both sides. But what I'm sharing is just my honest perspective, actually 26 years. So why don't people use LegalShield? That's the big question, right? And I think there are a few main reasons. And once you understand these, it actually starts to make a lot more sense as to why maybe you should have this service. The first reason is that people don't think about legal issues. They don't even think about things, and it is already a legal issue. They just wait till something's actually really gone wrong. And so most people aren't waking up in the morning thinking, man, I should probably call a lawyer today. Right? No, we're not doing that. So it's just not how we're wired. I mean, it just isn't. The second reason is that people don't always know what they can actually use it for, what they can talk to a lawyer about. And this is a big one. So instead of just telling you, let me give you some real situations and just really think about this. These are situations where somebody could stop, pick up the phone, or open their app and get something handled early, before it's too late, because this is where it starts to click. So you're about to sign a contract and something just doesn't feel right. Call the law firm. Text them, set an appointment. You're buying a used car from a private seller and you're just not sure about the title or the paperwork, even if you're buying it from a dealer, frankly. You're dealing with a landlord situation, or something in your lease doesn't make sense. All right, we have them, everybody does. You paid a contractor and the work wasn't done the way it was supposed to be done, or at least the way it was promised. And how about your employer asks you to sign something, a non-compete or some kind of agreement to your employer, and you're just not sure what that's really going to mean now or in the future. Let's say you're starting a side business and you're not sure how to set it all up the right way. We have lots of questions from that. Usually we're asking the wrong people. Somebody casually says, I'm going to sue you. And now you're wondering if that's real or not and what you should do to protect yourself in that case. You get contacted by a debt collector, and you don't even know if you own the claim, if the claim is really valid. You're about to sign a home repair contract, roofing, remodeling, something expensive, right? And before you do it, you want to make sure that you're protected. So these are all little things. Just keep in mind here, let's say you're in a dispute and you're thinking about sending a letter to someone. Well, rather than you sending a letter or responding to one, you have the law firm do it. You get a traffic ticket, and just instead of just paying it, you want to know if there's a better option. And with LegalShield, there is. You make an online purchase and something feels off, maybe even like a scam. Maybe we can do something about it. You're lending money to somebody or letting someone move in temporarily I went through this one. And you want to protect yourself. You definitely want to protect yourself. You get an alert about possible identity theft, or something shows up that shouldn't be there on your credit report. Or sometimes it's not even clear what the issue is. So it's just that there's a feeling of, this just doesn't seem right, right? Right? And then there are a couple more that people actually use quite a bit. And I know I went through a lot of them, but getting your will done, something most people know they should do, but they keep putting it off. Part of your membership. And when it's simple and accessible, they finally take care of it. And that's what's great about LegalShield as well. And even something like a moving violation, a traffic situation, where a quick conversation could really help you decide, do I fight this or just pay it? And again, part of your membership. And what are the long-term consequences if I do or I don't? Now here's something else I've noticed, and this is a big one as well. A lot of people will look at situations like these and think, I just don't have time to deal with that right now. It's not that big of a deal. Right? I don't have the time. And that's actually one of the biggest reasons things turn into bigger problems when you leave them alone a lot of times. But this is where something has changed a little bit with LegalShield. It's actually pretty important because now you don't always have to just stop what you're doing, call a law firm, try to get a hold of somebody, explain everything on the spot, and just sit there waiting, right? With the app, which LegalShield has, you can now schedule a call, put in the details ahead of time, and you have that conversation on your schedule. Plus, they've already got all the information, or a lot of it anyway, and so instead of thinking, I don't have time to deal with this, now you're able to go and say, well, it becomes, let me just set this up real quick. Boom, open the app, put your information in, handle it when it works for me, right? That's what you can do. And that might seem like a small difference, but it goes again to being able to use it so it doesn't feel like a bill. But it removes one of the biggest barriers people have. Because now it's not about, finding time in the moment. It's about being efficient with your time. When you combine that with all of those everyday situations that we just talked about, and I know I went through a lot of them, but God, there's just so many more as well. It just becomes a lot easier to actually use it. And that's the biggest thing. Man, people just have not, they'll get it and then they don't use it and then they cancel it, and why? When they could have saved themselves a lot of time, money, and headache. Okay, these are all little things, they're everyday situations, but those are the things that turn into big things. They're small decisions, moments where you can either move forward blindly or take a minute and get some clarity. Really powerful, right? So that's where most of the value actually is. But if you don't think about it that way, if you only think of legal help as something for big problems, you're probably never going to use it. And that'd be a shame. And so that's why people end up saying, it's not worth it. Just another bill, I need to get rid of it. I need to save some money. When in reality, they just didn't use it. So on the flip side, the people who do get value out of it, they think about it quite differently. They don't wait until something goes wrong, really. They use it before they make decisions. Think about what wealthy people do. They will always talk to their attorneys first. So let me just run this by someone real quick. And that can even just buy you time. It can save you from bigger problems later. And it's funny when you say, I'm going to run this by my lawyer first, you get a lot of different looks, right? So it's not just about what LegalShield offers, it's about how you use it, right? It's really how that you're going to get the value out of it. If you're never going to use it, it's probably not going to feel worth it. you're just going to think it's another bill. But if you're someone who would actually take advantage of those moments, even just a few times a year, that's where it starts to make sense, okay? Because we know how expensive lawyers are. Yeah. In my next video, I'm going to break down exactly what you do get and simplify the different plans. I've done this in a past video, but I want you to be able to really understand what you're looking at. There's a few little changes, make sure that you know about them. But once you understand it, it becomes a lot easier. And if you can picture again, going back to how it fits your needs, how little things in everyday life can affect your decisions going forward and regrets later on. So I'll put a link in below. You can get there if you like and check it out. If you can ask questions, put comments in here. And I'm glad that you're here. Like I said, I do post a new video every Monday and Thursday. So, real experiences, real lessons, things I've used, things I've liked. And as I said before, some things I haven't liked so much, okay? Mostly I try to do the things I like, but, if this helped you, I'd appreciate really a like on the video. Feel free to comment with your thoughts or experience. And, share it with somebody that if you think it could help them, all right? Maybe they're pondering whether or not to even use something like this, okay? And thanks again for being here. I'll see you in the next video. I'm Dan from Michigan. Have a phenomenal day.